And we are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien. He's Andrew Fox Miller. And guess what, Andrew? The season isn't over.
Oh,
How about that?
wow.
Season not over. Not over on October 17th. We don't have to talk about the draft and trading away a bunch of guys today, which could have been the case had Joe Flacco not been amazing last night. How about that?
Yeah, they're busy preserving Trey Hendrickson just in case, I assume.
Preserving. No. They are not. Trey pushed a play like
sure.
hard behind the scenes. But huge win. Plenty to discuss, plenty to react to. We want to answer your questions, of course. And this live is brought to you by Sleeper. Make sure you check them out today because, well, it's real easy. You have a chance to win 1,000 times your cash with daily fantasy football. And it's the perfect time to get in on the phone with Sleeper because you don't have a Bengals game to worry about on Sunday. So whether it's Justin Jefferson or CJ Stroud or any of the stars in the league, all you have to do is pick on stats for all of these players like passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, etc. And use promo code Bengals Talk. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Let's dive in, Andrew, to really all the fun, all the fallout. I think that this game very much was a must win. You posted this morning on our channel right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, me asking Orlando Brown Jr. how big of a win it was. And I admitted to him and Ted Karras, definitely those two, that I thought it was a must win going into it. I didn't shy away from that. Last week, a week ago, when I gave the what to watch for and prediction and expectations for Joe Flacco for his debut against the Packers, I was kind of like, yeah, we're going to Lambeau and we're going to be covering it, but the real game is on Thursday. And so for them to get that win, I don't want to downplay it. I don't want to look ahead. I want to really focus on it because it is that big. It matters that much. And I do think that if the Bengals are if there was a path to them being a good team this season with Joe Flacco, it had to start with a win against Pittsburgh.
You're saying a path to start with a path to finding season success I can't help but think it started with Joe Flacco. Like, he brought us out of the drudgery. Like, it's insane to me. Honestly, the takes out there of just ripping Cleveland for what they did. I know Mike Tomlin sort of beat him to the punch as far as leading up to this game, but the fallout it has been sublime. It's been so entertaining and satisfying as a Bengals fan. It is unreal to me that, when they first signed, or I should say, traded for Joe Flacco, a lot of people were like, some people were excited. I don't think anyone was really angry about it, but at worst, a lot of people were, oh yeah, that makes sense. Better than Jake Browning, but cool. I don't think anyone could have envisioned this. I envisioned maybe a game like this down the road. I didn't think it would happen this quickly. And it is unbelievable. I never would have expected. I mean, we kind of saw it in the second half against Green Bay, and it just continued on. And I didn't expect that either. Thought it was very possible. Let's keep the momentum going, but not like that.
Yeah, I can't say I pictured 31 of 47, 342, 3 touchdowns, no picks. I thought Flacco would be able to be a significant upgrade from Jake Browning and get the ball to the weapons. But I thought it would come with turnovers. I thought it would come with turnover-worthy plays. I thought it would be ugly at times. And it just hasn't been. Like that first half against Green Bay, yeah, it was ugly because the offense was just brutal. But Flacco had gotten there 4 days prior, really. He had been traded for 5 days prior. And so for them to go from that and think about where they were in that first half to that second half in Green Bay and basically their first drive of the second quarter last night on, where they score on 7 of their last 8 possessions, 4 field goals, 3 touchdowns, and are just moving the ball. And it's a little bit of everything. It's Joe Flacco ripping it to Andre Iosivas for a 37-yard game. It's Jamar Chase being used all over the field. And it's just a veteran quarterback dropping back, reading the defense, making the right reads, being accurate, taking care of the ball, knowing when to get rid of the ball and throwing it into the dirt to live for another play. It's been so much fun watching this. I don't know how long it's going to last. The Bengals don't need it to last for 4 months. And I think that's the other thing is the reminder. The other Joe returns to the sideline, and Joe Burrow back with his team during the game. He plans on being back this season. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I'll shout it from the mountaintop. He plans on being back, I would say, right around 2 months from now. And that's his mindset. That's his focus. I know he's rehabbing like a madman. I had that question on X on Thursday, like, oh, is he even rehabbing yet? Like, oh, hell yeah, he's rehabbing. He's rehabbing like crazy. And so we'll see. But if the door was cracked for Joe Burrow's return, it opened up a bit more on Thursday night. And it's slowly opening because of Joe Flacco and what he's brought to this team. Because, and here's another topic that I've hit on a lot. If this Bengals team is going to be good, Andrew, guess what? The offense has to carry them. The offense has got to do it. It's what they're built. That's how they're built. That's how they are. That's why trading for a quarterback made sense. And at least for one game, the offense was good enough to carry the defense.
Yeah, it especially with late games. You of course know, James, and I do as well. When it's over, you're up late. I'm up late.
Yeah.
And that game to me, like it felt like I dreamt it by the time I woke up. Maybe it's because I had 4.5, 5 hours of sleep, and but it felt surreal. And it's not to, I don't mean to sort of overstate. It's not like, it's not like this is a complete revitalization of an entire team. There are things to work on. There are opportunities that this team needs to tackle. I get it. But I got to reiterate, like, everything that had to come together offensively either came together or was added upon, expanded upon from what we saw in that second half of that Green Bay game. Add in the fact that Joe Burrow was on the sideline. Like, you just, those things, that almost got, I want to say, from a broadcast perspective, watching the broadcast, I know you don't see it as regularly as everyone at home watching it does, but I expected more like cutaways to Burrow. But there was so much excitement happening in the game itself that they were fairly conservative with it, I would say. Like, I expected Taylor Swift levels of like cutovers to Burrow. That's the kind of game it was, I guess, is my point.
It's funny you mentioned that. By the way, I'm putting on our Instagram story that we're live right now, just so you know. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm trying to promote that we are live, because this is a very special live, and we don't normally go live in the middle of a Friday afternoon. But it's funny you mentioned that, because before the game, I mentioned to some of the other reporters and writers, like, I wonder what the over-under is on Joe Burrow cutaways, and just how many times they're going to look at him and put the camera on him and all those things. And man, look at the national broadcast trying to do Joe Burrow dirty with the hair. Like, trying to get after my guy because he hasn't been worried. That's proof, by the way, that he's rehabbing like a madman. You don't think he's got a good barber? I know haven't met him. I know Joe's barber via Instagram. And guess what? He could get his haircut anytime he wants. All right. So clearly he's just so focused on that rehab. And, everyone says mid-December. Who knows? Maybe he's thinking in his mind he can get back even sooner than that. Sure. I doubt it, but I'm sure that's what he's hoping for. But yeah, I can't believe they did Joe dirty there, because that was it. He's like, all right, I got to put this hat on, and put the hat on. But I thought that it was interesting that Zach, and I actually clipped this out. Zach talked like an hour ago. I did not go to it at Paycor Stadium. You mentioned it. It was just kind of like it was a late night. I got home, 3:30-ish or so. The reason I'm saying that, I'm not complaining. I'm just giving everyone an idea of what it looks like. But I do have a clip of Zach from his press conference a little bit ago. I'll play that in a second. But yeah, having Joe there, it can't be bad. It certainly can help. It sounds like it did. I don't know how much it really truly does help, but knowing that he's the most important person in the building, I think just having him around is important. if that makes sense. Like, I don't really know, like Zach said, how important it was X's and O's wise. I'm not sure that matters a ton. He wasn't calling plays. I had people joke about that. He wasn't calling plays, but just seeing him, I think it is important for Jamar Chase and even a guy like Joe Flacco, who's basically trying to bridge the gap to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think, and maybe I'm underestimating or not recalling the correct amount that they cut over to Burrow. Maybe it was my own intensity and interest in what was happening on the field, because I had been waiting for that moment for Burrow to show up and kind of give like a little bit of a boost, just his presence with the offense and sort of the leadership component. But meanwhile, Joe Flacco is holding his own there. In fact, I couldn't help but think about the fact, and I don't know that anyone's talked about this, that in anything that I've read on social media, articles, what have you, thinking about the fact that in Burrow's career, NFL career, he really hasn't had a true veteran backup quarterback. I don't know that he necessarily needed one, but seeing Flacco and Burrow sitting on the bench, sandwiching Jake Browning, who was sitting between them for some reason, I had that moment of, oh, Burrow could actually learn something from Flacco. And he's not quite had this opportunity. Okay, Brandon Allen, I mean, yeah, what was he in his late 20s, maybe 27, 28, when at the youngest he would have been when he was Burrow's backup quarterback. And it's not like he had a ton of reps as a starter. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic, especially if when Burrow returns to the field healthy, with Flacco still being on this roster and being able to give him some guidance that, again, he really hasn't had. And I find that interesting.
I think it's a really good point, and twofold. One, regardless of what happens, I think there would be value in having a guy like Joe Flacco on the roster next season. I'll just go ahead and say it now. Yeah. Like, he may throw 4 picks against the Jets or something crazy. I still think it's valuable because he's calm. He's going to be able to make the right reads and throws. He clearly can get you by in a pinch, which is really what you want from a backup quarterback. And at the same time, he's physically still gifted and can still make throws that not a lot of quarterbacks can make. Like, did you ever really think, like, he outdueled Aaron Rodgers yesterday?
Right.
Like, that's a very real thing that he did. Joe Flacco. And historically, you would never say, 15 years ago, you're not like, oh, well, Joe Flacco is going to outdo Aaron Rodgers, or 10 years ago, Joe Flacco is going to outdo Aaron Rodgers. There's never really been a moment in their careers where that felt realistic.
By the way, Aaron Rodgers that had almost no pressures throughout the entire game, which
that's
is
true too.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's still sitting at Paycor Stadium now, just kind of like throwing it. Just
right.
DJ Turner's knocking it down, but he's still throwing it. Look, and that's a topic we can get into, but in the fourth quarter, I said that I was like, it's not like ever. It really, in any moment in Joe Flacco's career, even the Super Bowl run, there was never a debate there of, oh, well, of course Flacco's in that class with Aaron Rodgers. Like, the Joe Flacco is elite. No one ever thought he was Aaron Rodgers, and yet he outplays him when you could argue that Rodgers had Rodgers had the much easier matchup. He didn't have to worry about a pass rush. He had to worry about DJ Turner. And Jordan Battle made a nice play on the dumbest throw I've ever seen from Aaron Rodgers. It was just dumb and bad throw. But like, it's wild to think that that's what they're getting from Joe Flacco. And then some are going to say, well, is it sustainable or is it not? I'm not sure that matters. What matters is like, can Joe Flacco distribute it to the playmakers? Yes. Because after the game, he's like, oh, yeah, it was simple. Just a little out route to Jamar. And like, if you're making it simple on him, well, he's seen everything. And so I think that's pretty big. But as far as his impact on Joe, before we get off of the Joe Burrow topic, this is what Zach Taylor had to say like an hour ago at Paycor Stadium when it came to Burrow being back on the sideline and his potential future availability about staying on the sideline and helping out.
Anytime we see Joe walking around being Joe is a boost for the whole stadium. And he was great on the sidelines. He was doing a great job with the receivers, doing a great job with the quarterbacks. I wasn't listening to everything he was saying, but it was almost like another coach over there talking through some things. So, again, he's that type of guy that's just going to try to help everybody, and glad to have him out there.
Do you see that being the same going forward, Joe Burrow being on the sideline more? I mean, why this game and not previous games?
Well, the movement, just him moving around, staying off his foot, I think is the best thing possible. Again, from a medical standpoint, I can't answer that on this was maybe the appropriate time with the boot and all that stuff for him to get out there. I'm not going to speak to future games. I don't want to make that statement. I leave that more up to him, from a comfort standpoint, from a medical standpoint. That'll be kind of a game-to-game thing.
There you go, a game-to-game thing, as I put the end screen on there as well. It looks good. I usually finish a lot of those social media videos with the end screen. Andrew, you did a good job on that.
I did that a while ago, yeah.
I think it's good to have him out there. I don't know. Again, the X's and O's part of it, I don't know how much it helps. I think he will be out there for moving forward, at least at home games.
Yeah.
Road games, I don't know if it's necessary for him to travel. Hopefully he's starting to ramp it up a bit by the time they go on the road again. They don't go on the road until November 16th against the Steelers. That's why yesterday was such a big game. But yeah, I think that that it was good to see Joe. There's plenty of other layers here that I want to get to, but we'll put a bow on the Joe Burrow conversation.
Well, before we completely put that bow on, a quick epilogue, I'll say. This is gonna present poorly because I put it in the wrong area, but I couldn't help but think that the hair thing, there were so many people trying to compare it. I got to play to the comic book side of this, a comic book movie side of this. Is Spider-Man 3 is what I thought about, seeing kind of like emo Joe. And then, by the way, Jake Browning sitting between them. I did capture a picture of that while watching the broadcast, and there's the image of the three of them. I mean, I just kept wondering, like, is someone gonna switch? Is he gonna maybe like get up to go talk to Zach Taylor? Jake Browning might, and then the two of them can actually like compare some of this. And you were mentioning it. I don't know how much is needed in terms of X's and O's, but it's the little things. I feel as though, like, think about it. It's, hey, even if it's just commentary, something doesn't go well for Joe Burrow on the field. Hey, that didn't go the way I wanted. Even just Flacco going, yeah, I agree. I saw it. And you said that. And even if it's just a confirmation, somebody that's been around for 18 seasons that can sit there and has success at the highest level and can just kind of, again, confirm, expand upon something, and then the occasional question. This isn't like he's going to put Burrow through some sort of clinic as a mentor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it's a good point, and there's value there. In the Bengals quarterback room, you'd feel really good if it was the two Joes, for sure. And maybe there's just something about the Bengals and the name Joe. I don't know. But Joe Flacco's playing great, and Joe Burrow, go wherever you need to go to get healthy as soon as you can, of course. But it does feel like that they can stay afloat. That's what I thought yesterday was. I thought it was a measuring stick game of sorts where your back's against the wall, and can you go into the ring in a heavyweight, not even heavyweight title, but a heavyweight bout, and go win it. And no one's going to say that and deny that they're not a flawed team. They are a flawed team, and there's plenty of flaws that we should probably get into at some point during this live. But for them to respond the way they did in the second quarter when it's 10-0, definitely felt very much like a here we go again. You had a Chase Brown drop, an Andre Yosevich drop. You had a penalty on Amarius Mims. You had the decision to punt on 4th and 4 on the opening drive after the Steelers are up 7-0. Aaron Rodgers had 8.6 seconds to throw and find Jonnu Smith on that first touchdown to put the Steelers up 7-0. It just felt very much like a here we go again moment. And then something clicked on that drive when they go downfield and score with 4:42 left on a fade to Jamar, where he just cooks Jalen Ramsey, who barbecue chicken, man. Jalen Ramsey was so cooked throughout this game. You should never try to put Jamar. I mean, and he got beat. T. Higgins beat him like a drum on the game clinching play where he slid down, by the way, which is just, whoo-wee. It was rough. Jalen Ramsey is literally there to help against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. It's why they went and got him. Big reason why. But something on the offensive side clicked then on that drive. They score 17 points in 4 minutes and 42 seconds and have their first halftime lead since week 1. They hadn't scored a touchdown in 4 games. They were outscored 79-9 in the first half. They were outscored 79-9 in the first half. And going into that possession, it was like, man, you're 1 quarter away from doing this for a 5th straight game where there's no touchdowns in the first half. And instead they score 2 touchdowns. The defense does help out, steps up big with 2 interceptions. And that's really the difference in the game. That's where the game turned. The Bengals offense got momentum, and the defense did just enough to propel the offense forward. You're muted, big dog. You're muted.
Sorry, I was adjusting my mic as you were talking, and I hey, it would have been more disruptive had it made the noises it would have made when I was scooting it around. Now listen, now that you can hear me, listen.
What?
I couldn't help but think during the game, and not to bring up a downer topic per se, but as far as opportunities for this defense,
still muted.
I couldn't help but think
you're still
about.
muted.
I get it. I get your shtick over there. What are you doing over there? Oh my goodness. I couldn't help but think about the fact that if I'm the Steelers offense, I could have just run the ball literally every play that entire game, and I don't think the Bengals could have stopped them. I don't think that. I understand why they didn't. If you've got Aaron Rodgers behind a line that is protecting him well, and a defensive front in the Cincinnati Bengals that is putting next to zero pressures on him, yeah, you're going to take some shots. I get it. But I was getting nervous as the game was progressing. Like, hey, if nothing else, halftime adjustments, they might just run this ball down their throat, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. I am shocked they didn't lean into that even more.
Well, they should have. Because at one point in the fourth quarter, the Bengals had 15 missed tackles and over 100 yards. The Steelers had gained over 100 yards on those missed tackles. Ben Baby pulled up the stat. And it was like pretty early in the fourth quarter still, so I'm sure those numbers went up. That's the element of this that's pretty concerning. And Al Golden was talking kind of as we started going live, and he talked about the missed tackles, and they've had too many. Like, those are the things that I can't, that it's one thing to get beat because of talent, right? Like DK Metcalf, his first catch on that third down on the opening possession, like DJ Turner's all over him, but DK Metcalf's bigger, stronger, makes the play. And it's like, well, that was a concern in that matchup, but you live with it because DJ's right on his hip. What you can't live with is missed tackles and more missed tackles and blown assignments.
Failure at fundamental football.
No doubt. Jaylen Warren just running out. You're right. They should have.
It's exhausting. Why are we still talking about missed tackles after all this time?
You're up
before. I mean, it's crazy.
What did you feel like when they were up 6 and the Steelers get the ball back, and then the Steelers have to punt? Joe Flacco runs it, and you're like, oh well, they're just going to go get points, and then they didn't. The drive stalls. The Steelers get the stop. They have the ball. Did you have confidence the defense was going to get a second stop up 30-24? Did you think that Aaron Rodgers was going to go score?
I don't know if confidence is the word. I've just seen the defense step up when you least expect it for a brief moment. And sometimes that's all it takes. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Like all of a sudden this sort of general identity for 60, 70, even 80% of the game of the way the defense looks. And for a flash, they look different. And sometimes it's not enough. A lot of times it is, shockingly. And I was expecting a moment like that. Didn't necessarily expect the outcome to be what it was, but I knew anything was possible. It's like any given Sunday, this defense is like any given play, but usually you kind of know the trends.
Yeah. I think the moment they had to settle for a field goal and it was 30-24, I was like, oh, the Steelers are scoring a touchdown.
Yep.
Now that touchdown might matter. It might not. It depends on what the Bengals do on offense. I was like, but they're going to get to 31. And sure enough, they did.
Yep.
And I was not confident in it because they could not get consistent pressure. They had 2 tackles for loss and 2 quarterback hits. That was as of like 2 in the morning when I looked at it. I could pull it back up here to confirm just in case.
By the way, I thought Steelers were going to need more clock too for what it's worth. I expected the touchdown, but I expected more clock to be used up.
Well, that was the one nice thing that the defense did is they said, hey, we're going to suck and give up this touchdown, but we're going to do it fast. We're going to do it fast. We're going to be so bad that Joe Flacco is going to have plenty of time. And so that's what I think is interesting. You got Kirk Herbstreit talking about the Cincinnati Pain, which it was a really weird, and I get it. Like he's from here and feels it and stuff. It was a weird environment almost. And because I wasn't necessarily feeling like, oh, well, like just because Aaron Rodgers goes and scores a touchdown, he does that against everybody and certainly does that against a poor defense. Like I wasn't thinking in that mindset, but I think that it did when they discuss that, put this Cincinnati cloud over this game. And it's like, well, is this great night by Joe Flacco going to get ruined?
Right.
And the thing that is so unique about the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase era, they don't feel that. It is not a thing. Joe Burrow, after they beat the Raiders in their first playoff game, told Sam Hubbard, like, this is what we do. And Sam's like, dude, you don't understand. And no, Joe's like, no, this is what we do. Like, it was a very real conversation where Joe's like, it's just a playoff game. You know, like, they don't feel that stuff. It just is not a thing. And so for then this cloud to be put over it to a degree, and a lot of people felt that way. I'm not saying Kirk was wrong for doing it.
Sure.
A lot of people probably felt that way. Like I said, I thought the Steelers were going to get to 31. And then they do. It's like, oh, well, this is where the miracle night ends. 9 days after they acquire him, Flacco's going to throw a pick, or he's going to get sacked, or strip fumble, or something like that's going to happen.
It seemed overdue, like he was on borrowed time, because we've said it time and time again. Like, Flacco's, expect that, but everything else you get out of it, it's totally worth it. I was expecting that at some point as well.
And instead, he was Joe Calm. I'm going to keep pushing that nickname that Dan Horde pushed out there. He's Joe Calm. He just says, oh, okay, well, and I'm going to pull up the playlist of that final drive, because it was really fast. It did not take long.
No.
For them to get downfield here. Let's see here. Flacco passes to Jamar Chase for 15 yards. Jamar Chase for 18 yards. Chase Brown, 2 yards. And they're already in field goal range then. And it was a long field goal range. And then the deep ball to T. Higgins, 28 yards. So Joe Flacco says, I'm Joe Calm. I'm going to go 3 for 3 for 28, 38, 46, 56, 6 for 61 yards. 3 for 3, 61 yards, 2 to Jamar, 1 to T, ball game. Like, that's crazy to think of, especially given the fact that he just had arrived 9 days prior and was kind of operating on the fly at on some of the play calls with Zach, because they're still working through things. So just crazy. I'm trying to put that in perspective, because it was kind of unique, especially after the fact, when I saw the Herb Street element of it down the stretch. As you're consuming that, you're probably like, damn, this was a fun game, but it's not going to be enough. And Joe Flacco said, I got this.
Yeah. And not only that, talking about how you expected the outcome of this game to be, leading up to the final scoring play, which is a field goal by Evan McPherson. I actually want to hear from the chat on this, to be honest. I have to think most people were probably in the same headspace as I was, where you felt all this momentum. And I know McPherson was 3 for 3 up to that point, as far as field goals are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about waiting for the other shoe to drop with Flacco. Kind of his time's up. He's got to make a mistake at some point that's going to be costly. And not because we doubt Flacco. It just seemed overdue. Just statistically speaking, McPherson, I was clenching the entire time for that field goal, because it just felt like, you talk about Flacco having this great game and then having a moment that just costs him the game, or whatever, or something occurs on the offense that costs him the game. What if it all just comes down to McPherson? What if it all comes down to a field goal? After all that and the weight of it, I just was like, this feels all too familiar. And
I get that.
Obviously, he made it, but
I get that, especially after last year. And I asked Evan about that.
Yep.
Because, like, it's not just the thoughts going through your mind when it's time to go out there and kick. It's, oh, they're kneeling it here. And there's like 5 real minutes of time, maybe 3 real minutes, but it was like a significant amount of actual time that was running off, that you had to wait and wait and wait for your opportunity to kick. And it wasn't like a 22-yarder. I mean, it was a 36-yarder. And I get it. He should make it. But, man, that is a lot of pressure. And so I thought Evan had some good answers that you could check out after the live. We posted those. But I think Evan's a great kicker. Last year was weird. I was critical of him last year. I think there was a lot going on. I think that the Bengals clearly weren't happy with Cal Adamitis as a long snapper. They bring in William Wagner, who had a high snap last week, by the way. But Evan is back to the Evan I remember, where he's just in the moment. looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game, he told Joe Burrow before rookie Evan McPherson walks out there in Nashville and kicks them to the AFC title game. Like, that's how he's been, is like this happy-go-lucky guy who's really talented and focused and doesn't let things bother him. And it feels like he's fully back to that, which is great to see. And obviously 4 for 4 yesterday, 10 of 12 on the year, and his 2 misses, 56 into the wind at Green Bay. And then the other miss wouldn't have been a miss. It was 67 yards, would have been an NFL record if the first one counted and the Packers didn't call timeout. So Evan's having a heck of a year.
No doubt. I do want to bring up a few comments I think that are good discussion points, but also some questions. I want to emphasize this one. I feel like I kind of mentioned this on Twitter. Like, after you kind of come down from sort of this adrenaline rush of a win, all of a sudden I remembered, like, oh, right, Trey Hendrickson wasn't in that game. I was thinking about it throughout the game, but then the game just sort of took over, and it wasn't about Trey Hendrickson not being there anymore. All of a sudden, of course, it's Flacco moving the ball down the field, Jemar making spectacular plays, T having a great game, the run game, so on and so forth. But the fact that they won that game, it almost is, I don't want to call it overlooked, but for lack of a better term, it felt like sort of lost in the sauce. Like, Hendrickson wasn't there, and now he has a mini bye to recover and potentially be playing for week 8. That is crazy to me, especially after the product we saw out of that D-line in this game. So I can't help but feel a lot more optimism knowing that.
Well, they need him. They need him. He's the guy that can bring it all together and stabilize it. And what I will say is, if DJ Turner is who he looks like, which is this sticky corner that's got some nastiness and swag to him and confidence, he gives up a play. I mean, you think about it. He gives up that play to DK Metcalf. And you're like, oh, no. Oh, no. Like, this is going to be a problem all game long. And he rebounds. And this is to your Trey point. If you have a corner like that, and then another corner in Dax, who I think is really reliable and versatile, and then you have a pass rusher like Trey, it's going to make life, it's going to come together. Like, I can see the path to it coming together. I really can. If DJ is this guy, or he's going to be that high-end cover player, and then on the other side, you have Dax, and then Trey Hendrickson rushing. I do think that they have enough around Trey for it to come together. But without Trey, they don't. Clearly, they don't. Aaron Rodgers is still standing in the pocket at Paycor Stadium, wondering if he's going to get hit. I mean, I really don't remember them truly hitting him. Did you see his offensive lineman hit Aaron Rodgers after the Pat Freiermuth touchdown? Did you see that?
Like,
he hit the hell out of him.
Team, essentially.
That was the hardest. That's why he was so mad. That was the hardest he had ever gotten hit all night. Like, all night. Aaron Rodgers doing little spin moves in the pocket. He should get crushed for doing that. And crushed, I mean, there should have been a defensive lineman in his lap. And that didn't happen. And so they have to figure that out. I disagree with that comment that the defense played okay without Trey. I thought they stunk last night. I thought, outside of Jordan Battle taking advantage and making a really nice play on the ball when Aaron Rodgers made a stupid throw, just a really big mistake by the future Hall of Famer, and then DJ Turner just made a heck of a play. Like, outside of those 2 plays, what really stands out? The fact that they forced the Steelers to punt twice, that, welcome to defense. That's kind of the job. And so that's where I'm at. I think they were awful. Now, can they be better with Trey? Absolutely. But they need to fix some things and get Trey back. And if that happens, I do think that there's a path for this defense to certainly play better, especially with an offense that's producing and doing what they did on Thursday night.
Want to just quickly call out the fact that we've got a little over 300 people joining us. We had no notifications left in the world of YouTube, and we didn't give much runtime as far as scheduling this and getting people an opportunity to select notify me. So I appreciate everyone joining. It is a quiet chat for 300 plus. I feel like we've had less that have been busier, and that strikes me as maybe 2 things here, James, by the way. 1, hungover. 2, they're at work. Or both.
Who works? Not me. Who works these days?
We appreciate you all joining nonetheless. So I wanted to call it.
Keep talking, get whatever. I have a surprise for our viewers in a second. Something that they have not seen or probably haven't seen. It's going to take me a second, so keep going. If I'm looking down, though, I'm still listening, I promise.
Speaking of things you've seen or haven't seen, I know some of you that subscribe to our channel have seen it. We do have a membership program, and I want to emphasize the membership is not to take away from anyone that subscribes to our channels or watches our videos. We're not taking away anything for that. We're rewarding people that want to invest in our channel. That inspires me, that inspires James to make content for the people that are funding it. So it's out there. You can go as low as $3. If you want more content than that, there's other tiers. But I've designed it in such a way that I really want to almost employ me to do more content for everybody, because I enjoy it, and just throwing that out there. That's enough of that. But I do want to point out, let's see, a few comments here that I wanted to throw up. By the way, I wonder if anyone, yeah, people commented about the work. Yeah, there we go. The work, yeah, yep.
Let's
okay.
go.
It's all right.
Let's go. Hey, yeah. No, we get it. We get you're at work, but we appreciate you tuning in too. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you watching at work.
Let's see. We've got, oh man, a lot of comments, and some of these I'm digging back. So I hope some of you stuck around. I try to, I bookmark them, and I want to come back to some of them. Yeah, by the way, I love the thank you Cleveland chant during the post game. I don't know if you were even around to have heard that, James, by the way.
I saw the clip, but no, I was not. Sure. It was unbelievable. And it really is. It's one of those like wild situations where, like, I totally agreed with Mike Tomlin earlier in the week. I think he had some other motives behind those comments, but just to see that and to see how it's worked out, like, yeah, I mean, the max they moved up is like 60 spots from round 6 to round 5. And Joe Flacco is better today, guaranteed, than Dylan Gabriel. He is better today, guaranteed, than Shedeur Sanders. He is better today, guaranteed, than Kenny Pickett, who the Browns had in training camp. And the reason I say that is because in Cleveland today, at least my friend Ken Carmen of 92.3 The Fan, I saw a clip of him, and he said, see, this isn't working. And that's proof. And I agree with him. Like Jerry Jeudy, they just paid Jerry Jeudy in Cleveland to be like the dude. He's at best the Bengals wide receiver 3. And I don't think the Bengals would even trust him to necessarily do that. And it's not because of his physical gifts, but it's because of all the things that Joe Flacco has seen since coming here. The reliability of Jamar. He's going to be literally exactly where he's supposed to be. And he's going to make the right play, and he's going to read the defense, and just all of those things. So it is wild to see Cleveland go from a guy who's clearly better than any quarterback they have.
And even if he's not, by the way, can mentor nothing but youth in that quarterback room.
But he is. I mean,
right.
He is. But even you're right. Even if he's not, perfect guy to be in there. And he signs there, and they kind of yank him around the whole time after he re-signs there. And with the Kenny Pickett trade, and then they draft 2 quarterbacks, and then he's splitting reps with these dudes that he's clearly better than. And the reason I say he's clearly better than him, I didn't have to see Joe Flacco throw a ball for me to realize that he was more talented and physically gifted than Jake Browning. You could just tell. And so when I watch Dylan Gabriel and then I look at Joe Flacco, you don't even need to see them throw to know which one's better, which one was the first round pick, which one's been great and a Super Bowl MVP, and which one is, probably a lifetime backup in the NFL at best. So there you go.
By the way, I want to call out everyone talking about whether they're working or not. I should be careful. Maybe I shouldn't be flashing up the comments in case someone that you're working with or for happens to also see this. But I as long as you're not a surgeon. Yeah, like Joe Flacco. Oh, Dr. Joe. I'm going to go off script here for a moment. This is a follow-up from the last live we did. Badlands here asked about Marvel Rivals. That was a hot topic, by the way. We had not heard of it. James hadn't heard of it, and people were so mad in the comments that it was so popular and we weren't aware of it. But yeah, Marvel Rivals, I guess, on mobile. We do need to play.
Yeah, I still haven't downloaded it. Still haven't given it any effort. Maybe I will. Obviously, I mean, when we were live Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So it hasn't been that long. Wednesday was pretty busy. Yesterday was busy, obviously. And boy, oh boy. Did you, by the way, when I was like, hey, the Bengals, so last week before the Green Bay game, I had a few days to reflect on the Flacco deal. And I don't think this had anything to do with being influenced by the Bengals, but I just looked at their process logically, who they could have gotten, who they could have traded for, all of those things.
Right.
When we put the Bengals got it right, this was the best option video, and I explained why. Did you believe that? Like, did you believe it? Like, I believed it. I'd never say anything I don't believe, just to be clear. There are people that'll come out like, hey, what do you really think about this? It's like, I just told you. It's the same thing I said on camera. So anyways, just to be clear about that. But sometimes that happens in person. But I was like, hey, they got it right. I want to do a video on this.
Right.
Did you feel that way in that moment?
I don't think they got it wrong. I know that's a very political way of answering it, but like I wasn't like, this is the best possible fit for them or anything that like that. Not that you were saying that either, but I don't know that that would be my like marquee statement about the move. I just felt as though they did the right thing. And I knew that much. And I knew that it wasn't going to backfire on them as far as Flacco was not my concern. No matter what, they upgraded at a position they needed. I knew that much. And I knew that Flacco could lead them to wins and lead this offense to better output. But I just didn't know about everything else, you know?
Yeah, totally get it. I was just kind of curious because I was pushing Russell Wilson. One thing I didn't realize that Flacco would be available because the Browns Bengals element. But like, it makes a ton of sense. And the reason why he was ahead to me of a guy like Jameis Winston is because of the maturity, because of the ability to be the calming presence, the offenses he's played in, how they felt like they could play stylistically, plus all the concepts and everything like that. Like and that's before you even get into trade cost, where I think Jameis would have cost a little bit more, all of those things. I do think they were interested in Jameis, by the way. Like,
yeah, they should have been.
Like, interested enough to like probably make a call. But I also think that Flacco was ahead, and it makes a ton of sense. Real quick, I teased I had something coming up. I just don't want to go too far before we get out of the DJ
Jay
Turner.
Davis, appreciate you, by the way, new member.
Jay,
just live.
You're the man. Appreciate you.
Keep
DJ Turner.
looking for a job, Jay.
I asked, so this is before I knew about Cam Taylor-Britt. I mean, you work a ton already for the channel. Anyways, it's not like the people think you're like spend 10 minutes on it, you're done for the day or something.
No, I log my hours. Don't worry.
Yeah, for sure.
Them.
Cam Taylor-Britt, we didn't know he was going to be inactive until he was inactive, and was healthy, inactive. 3 days ago now, Tuesday, I asked DJ Turner about DK Metcalf because I'm like, well, DJ leads the league in pass breakups. Cam's had the success against DK Metcalf a couple of years ago. Like, what do they do? Do they go with the big physical Cam Taylor-Britt that's had success against DK, or do they go with the much smaller DJ Turner, but is clearly playing much better? And I just asked DJ the challenges of facing DK, and I really like this answer. This is quick. It's 19 seconds long.
About you guys, but what stands out about DK Metcalf? What makes it tough when you're in coverage against him?
He's a bigger receiver, but I just keep saying it's about us, about what I do. It's not about what whoever lines up against us, about what they do. Our preparation throughout the week.
He basically said, I don't give a damn what DK is or how big he is. As long as I do my job, it's not going to matter. Like, it's not about them. And he said that a few times with different answers. He's stone-faced. It's not about DK Metcalf and how big he is. I just got to go out there and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's just funny that he had that. I don't know. I love that mindset. It was funny.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of a lot of people just talking about the interception. So
the interception was crazy.
Right. Like, but that's, you bring up, we're talking about Cam Taylor-Britt. Even if Taylor-Britt was having a rough game or a rough stretch well prior to this, like he had ups and downs. One thing that could justify the idea of him being out on that field as a starter or getting any significant snap count, really up until during this season, and even some of the last season, was the fact that big playability can create those turnovers. DJ Turner didn't really have that reputation. Not that he couldn't do it or hadn't done it, but he wasn't that splash, ball hawk type if you want to call
Yeah.
it that for lack of a better
Yep.
term, guy that would do that. That play right there was, I felt like almost like a coming out party for DJ Turner. Like it was just a huge moment from where I was sitting where that's what they need. And without Cam Taylor-Britt, if you had any fear of losing that element, even though you knew all the ugly that could potentially happen out on the field in this particular game, like it was not even, okay, totally fine. Like it's an afterthought now as far as this game is concerned and Cam Taylor-Britt not being out there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Zach was asked in his press conference today, and Jay Morrison's going to have something on this at BengalsTalk.com, but he was asked about DJ, and 7 weeks ago, Zach Taylor had to tell DJ Turner, hey, you're not starting against the Browns. And he told him that. And it was Cam and it was Dax and it was Josh. Like those are the guys that were starting. And DJ clearly took it the right way and handled it the right way and kept working. And I think it's because he has that confidence. It's about me. It's not about them. And I love that mentality because as a corner, you're going to get beat. You're going to give up plays. It's inevitable. And if you remember during training camp, there was a long stretch there, a few weeks where it's like, why is DJ Turner getting beaten? All these clips. And it was just over and over and over. It felt like just social media wise. And then he has that big practice where he has 5 pass breakups. And it was just DJ Turner day in the indoor.
Yeah. I remember making a thumbnail just of him because of his day in a practice. Like,
and so like you saw it and it was like, he was so good and the ball skills were there and he was just gliding. And I'm like, man, and that practice was foreshadowing how well he was going to play. Cause now we have a multi-game sample size of DJ Turner playing at a really, really high level. And it's huge because that's what you needed. That's what this season was about on defense and continues to be about. You need young guys to emerge as real dudes. And I think Dax is one of those. I think DJ may be one of those dudes with the way he's covering right now and just his mentality and mindset. I love it. So we'll see. He's got to continue it. But when you look at it and you see that he's gone up against some of these great receivers, Justin Jefferson, he's given up a bunch of size to DK Metcalf. I mean, the reason Aaron Rodgers threw that ball, that first interception that Jordan Battle picked, is he was like, DK's against that little guy, launch it. And it was a bad ball that both DJ and Jordan probably could have intercepted, and Jordan made a heck of a play.
No doubt. I want to say, by the way, speaking of, I don't know that you can get a decent edge rusher for Cam Taylor and Jermaine Burton. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, right? Like, I don't know that you can.
I mean, we call the Browns, hey, we'll give you Cam Taylor-Britt, Jermaine Burton.
And Browns are like, yeah, and we'll also send you some picks with that. No.
Let me get Myles Garrett.
Yeah. By the way, Code Red Omega is a owner suite VIP member, so appreciate you. And he's
Shout
on our
out.
end screen, bragging rights, feeding my family. Look at you, Code Red Omega.
Shut up, dude. If you don't, thanks,
I do
Code
because
Red.
It's bothering you.
I hate it. Yeah, I hate that. But Code Red is my favorite Mountain Dew, by the way. But yeah, I think that pass breakup is an example of DJ understanding the game and playing like with complete instincts. Like he's understanding the scheme, understands where he needs to go. And he literally, you're right. He came off of where he was and said, oh, I'm going to knock this away, and is able to knock it away. Just, it's a really good example. Good point, Code Red. What's going on with Jermaine Burton? Same thing with, I mean, him and Cam are kind of in the same situation now. Like you got to be consistent and you got to earn the trust. You got to build some equity. You got to build some equity, man. I mean, and so that's it. Like there were some that, especially after Andre had that drop last night early, like how is Andre still on the field and Jermaine's not getting a shot? Well, when you're reliable, when you're working hard, when you know where to go, and when you've built up equity, well, then you can withstand a few drops without getting benched, right? That's what it is. You build up equity, and that's a big word in my world. You build that, and then if you mess up, you're not getting yanked right away because you have some trust in the building. And so I think that's what Jermaine Burton, and for different reasons, Cam Taylor-Britt, That's what those guys have to earn and build and maintain. And when you don't have that, those are major cracks in a foundation when you're trying to build up. And it's unfortunate. I'm not saying we won't see Jermaine Burton at all this year. I just think he's got to earn that trust and continue to build something with this coaching staff and with his teammates.
Yeah, I wanted to point out I didn't mean to point this out, just for you, James. Andrew's locked in the editing room, only gets to eat when you become a member. Anyway, so
we got to 40 plus members. That's the only reason he has power at his house right now.
No, there's not. These are just battery powered lights. The lights are off right now.
Oh, those are the battery ones. Okay.
Yeah. Working my way up.
Oh.
Yeah. So Geno Stone, I don't want to spend a lot of time on Geno Stone, but I hate how much I noticed Geno Stone.
I thought going into yesterday, he was all right. Like this season, like just fine. He had a few big hits yesterday, but yeah, I mean, you
can count
from
on
a tackling.
It's kind of like what I was saying with Cam Taylor-Britt. Like you can count on that maybe happening, but it's equity. You just said it. I don't know where we're at with that.
Yeah, I just wonder where I thought Jordan was awful against Green Bay. I thought it was a little better yesterday from those guys, like as a collective, but not great. And here's the problem with Geno. You can't get beat on Pat Frymer. Like, you got to be there, man. You got to be there, assuming that's him and not just some coverage breakdown. But yeah, there we go, Rob. I didn't even see that
the
comment.
moment you said it. Look at me.
What?
I'm on fire. You wouldn't know that I slept 4.5 hours.
Can I tell? Must be nice. I'll tell you how much I slept in a second.
Yeah. I'm going to take a nap right after that. No.
I take a nap. I was walking my way down. So the Bengals had to punt. And when I saw the Bengals had to punt, I looked at how much time was left. And I was like, all right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk my way down to the media room. And by the time I get there, here, this is when I get to brag, especially live. Look, that's my sleep. Look.
What's wrong with you?
3:35, brother. 3:35.
Are you tracking it on your watch?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't wear my watch. I charge it when I'm sleeping.
3:37.
Well, now I should, because you're going to make it a competition.
3:37 the day before. God, I need to sleep.
James
more.
Loves to show off how hard he works. Loves it. Loves it.
Hey, when you build up that equity, you can do it. Anyways, William works hard. LFG.
See, you're criticizing me for talking about putting food on my kid's plate, but this campaign is working, James. You can't deny it.
May I have some more? All right, I can't. You're killing me. What was I? Oh, anyways, so the Bengals have to punt, and you have to make a decision at some point during the game. If you're me, getting video and everything that I do post game, when are you going to make the trek down? And it's not a long walk, but you're making a walk, and you're going down 4 flights. And sometimes there's fans, and if you wait till the end of the game, there's going to be a lot of fans in your way. And so, there's 2 whatever left. The Steelers are getting the ball. And as I'm walking into the media room, Pat Freiermuth is catching that pass. And I'm like, here we go. And they're like, oh, Freiermuth, and he's going to go into the end zone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. So that was my vantage point. And then the final 2 and change, I was sitting there in my seat, finishing up the story. Of course, I had both versions, which stunk, because if they had lost that game, only the beginning part was going to be about the loss. And then everything was going to be about how awesome the offense was. And then it was going to be, hey, this defense was trash. And that was at the bottom on win or loss. And, they were able to pull it out. So I was able to really lay it on from an offensive standpoint since they sealed the deal.
I got to point out that I have a lot of footage from that Green Bay game that I didn't know what I was going to do with. And it was just talking with fans prior to the Green Bay game. And I was like, well, now what am I going to do with this? They lost the game. I'm going to sit on this footage. I don't know if it's going to be a member video. I don't know if it's going to be one I'll put out for the public, so to speak. But now I think I got some stories here for that. You got me thinking about it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm going to pull up. I know there's been a lot of chatter about this. I want to get this up there. And by the way, Jermaine Burton, I just got to go back to that for 1 second. I did want to say something about that from a fan, non-insider perspective. I will vouch for what James is saying in terms of what he knows and what he doesn't know, in that on that trip to Green Bay, and I'm not giving anything away, James. No worries, Harry. Don't, I don't want you getting all nervous.
I'm not nervous.
On that trip to Green Bay, I sat with three other beat writers, including James, and there was plenty of conversation about Jermaine Burton. There's nothing going on. I was sitting there thinking, oh, maybe there's gonna be some real info here, like we had last year. What I heard in those conversations is exactly what James said. So all I'm saying to everyone here is that you're hearing authentically what is known by people in James's position, because I heard it amongst a group of them. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
it's not like you're holding back, like, oh, did he really do something? They're covering it up, and it's not. I mean, not from your vantage point, at least.
Sure. Well,
Um,
everyone says availability is the best ability. Reliability is the best ability.
a lot of chatter about guards. Dalton Risner came up as well.
Because Jermaine's available,
Yeah.
but is he reliable? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it really is. I'm coining that. Reliability is the best ability, because health goes in there.
And there's something to go with liability in there as well, on a number of fronts.
Oh man.
So I've seen some Dalton Risner comments. I've seen some guard offensive line comments.
You know what?
Did they figure out their guard situation? Andrew Sandman asks. Risner looked good at left guard.
It's amazing, Andrew. What happens? And I moved back. I don't want to hit my computer. My computer's under the camera. It's amazing what happens when you give a veteran a few weeks of practice. It's amazing. They get their football legs under them, especially at a physical position, right? Like Joe Flacco is put in an impossible spot, but he was at least practicing. Dalton Risner was in the building for 10 days, and now suddenly he's playing against Cleveland. Shocker, not the best run blocker in the world. Then the next week against Jacksonville. Oh, well, wasn't that great? Well, you know why? Because he had like 4 practices. And that's really, really hard as an offensive lineman. So the thing that I really like, and this is something that Cam Taylor-Britt could really use, honestly. Dalton Risner signs here because he wants to help protect Joe Burrow. And they're like, hey, you're not going to start. We're going to get you in there initially and get you sped up and get you comfortable. And then Lucas Patrick gets hurt and he's thrown to the wolves. And he puts out some bad tape. He struggles. I talked to him ahead of that Denver game when they had benched him for Jalen Rivers. And this is a revenge game. This is a game that Dalton Risner would certainly want to play in, right? Or it was the Minnesota game and then the Denver game, whatever. I think I maybe both, regardless, whenever he was benched. I think it was during the Minnesota game that happened. So ahead of the Denver game. And he's like, you know what? It's a tough spot. I just got to stay ready. I got to attack it. No excuse that I wasn't necessarily, because I was like, come on, man. There's no way you were where all these other guys were that were in training camp the whole time. And now you're seeing like, oh, well, maybe he can pass protect. Maybe he can play at a pretty high level. Duh. You know, he didn't forget how to play football. He just hadn't played it the way you need to play it to be ready to go for the regular season. So no, I'm excited about Dalton Risner. I hope they keep playing him. And I wonder if they go the Fairchild at left, Risner at right, and Rivers as a backup. Like I wonder if that's the weak link at this point.
I mean, that was kind of the original
Rivers.
plan until things got derailed by injuries, right?
Yeah, but and you still have Lucas Patrick. He served as the backup center last
so
night.
Easy to forget that. but yeah, you're right. I mean, he's any day, any week now.
But if Risner's performing well and you're confident in Dylan Fairchild being a guy, and I do think Jalen Rivers has flashed some and been okay at times, you know, like now you have options. Lucas Patrick is extremely versatile, can play all 3 spots on the interior. So that is a good spot to be in. I am not shocked that Dalton Risner has played well the past 2 weeks, though.
Jay, definitely see you. Just joined as being a member, but he's also sending some super chats our way, which we appreciate. But yeah, I want to clarify, because I know we're flashing up this, but it's not just thoughts on the pass rush, but he also wanted, and I've seen comments about Shemar Stewart, so we might as well incorporate that into this. His snaps. I've seen others bring up Shemar as well. Some critical of the way he played. Others that are saying what's going on with the pass rush in general, knowing that Shemar Stewart's out there. I want to quickly say about that, James, because I was thinking about this too, and I'm curious on your take on this because we haven't talked about it yet. I see what people are saying. I know he looked a little lost out there based on what I saw on the broadcast. I haven't gone back and watched anything else from this game, but I also look at it as he's a rookie that hasn't had a lot of meaningful NFL snaps yet. I don't know that I expect him to just tear it up, especially without Hendrickson out there for support and leading the way, I should say. And I don't know. I'm not going to look at this game and even formulate a fraction of the mind or the thought I'm going to make up with Shemar Stewart at this point.
Well, he missed a month with the ankle.
Right.
He played a game and change and was really good in that first game. He's probably playing at less than 100% with the ankle. And the knock on him was, the awareness and him getting out of position at times. And so it's twofold. Like, I get the frustration. I do. You want him to be productive. He's the 17th overall pick. He's a pass rusher that you're hoping can be a part of the pass rush and part of a good defensive front this year and moving forward. I also think that banking on him to be your number one, and I think that's when you look at that defensive line, certainly at defensive end, like what you go into that type of game looking at it as, I think he's better than Joseph Osai. I do. From a physically gifted standpoint, like I just do. I've seen it in practice when he's healthy, when he's right. And so, yeah, you want him to be a chaos causer is how I would describe Shemar Stewart. That's like the goal. I don't necessarily look at, does he need 8 sacks or 10 sacks? Can he cause chaos and be disruptive? He wasn't disruptive enough yesterday. Needs to be better. And hopefully now with this mini bye, he can get that ankle even healthier and be more productive, especially if Trey's on the other side. That's where I would look at it. But Shemar, he is unique because they're going to use him all across that front. And I do think it's coming. I do think he's going to be productive, even though he made some mistakes yesterday. Far from perfect. But I still believe, because I've seen enough of healthy Shemar being disruptive, that I do think he's going to matter this season.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. I'm seeing a lot of comments like some didn't even notice him out there. I noticed him because of moments where he looked out of place.
I'm not saying it was good yesterday.
No,
it wasn't good. They stunk. They could not rush the passer. It was unbelievably bad, like terrifyingly bad. I don't even know. When you finish with 2 quarterback hits on a quarterback that really can't move, and he's spinning out of the pocket and he's rolling out and he's comfortably running and sliding, like it wasn't like a read option like Joe Flacco. And part of the reason Joe Flacco was only sacked twice is they were getting the ball out. Aaron Rodgers was hold.
Yep.
Rolled his right, rolled his rocket, and he's still not getting hit. Like, he got hit on that touchdown pass to Jonnu Smith after 8.6 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable that it took that long to get someone close enough to him to put hands on him.
Why does the dude on the left always look depressed? I'm assuming my left, and if it's me, it's because I'm reading all these comments. I'm trying to scan and formulate thoughts and reading what you all are saying.
I mean, our names are right there. Who is it? Me? You think I look depressed?
I don't know what's going on there.
You think I look depressed? Try getting 3 hours and 35 minutes of sleep looking depressed.
I was going to bring up the sleep, but I didn't need you flashing like how many hours you've had in the year 2025.
I hadn't looked, and I was just kind of curious. I was curious. That's all. I'm tired. I'll get more tonight.
All right, let's this is a big one. Appreciate Tony, by the way. Your predictions for a record at the bye. Are you calling this the mini bye, or are you saying at the upcoming? What are we saying here?
No, the bye's in 2 weeks. So they play the Jets and the Bears.
Bye week. So what are we going to win the next 2 games? Is what the question is.
Yep. Go ahead. 5-4, 4-5, 3-6.
I was just thinking 2 games, but yeah, I could do math too, apparently. But I was just thinking these next 2 games, I'm expecting. I think they're very winnable. I think they should be 2-0 these next 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm going to be conservative in that there are a lot of things that need to be worked on in this team, and I feel like something's going to get exploited, whether it's call it a trap game or just something not matching up the way it should, the defense needing to get themselves together, people needing to get healthy. I'm going to say 1-1 these next 2 weeks.
They can survive going 1-1. You can't lose to the Jets.
Fair.
The Bears game isn't as meaningful. Like if you tell me they beat the Jets and the Steelers on November 16th, then lose to the Bears. That's fine. I'll take that. Mm-hmm. But you can't. You can't drop the Jets, an AFC game, in this weird AFC. And I said it before yesterday, like sweeping the Steelers would be huge. So yeah, first things first, get to 4-4. But I said it at the top. Enjoy this, enjoy this win. Don't start focusing on that. Got plenty of time to talk about the Jets and think about the Jets, and we'll cover it all, of course. But enjoy this. How many times over the past month did you wonder as a Bengals fan, hey, is there going to be a moment like this year where it still matters and you're excited? I guarantee we have 300 plus watching. And I'm sure a lot of people didn't feel like that was going to be realistic to have that kind of feeling at any point this season. Well, you have it. So enjoy it now. Doesn't mean it's not coming again, but enjoy it now because you have a few extra days to do so.
And by the way, and I could say the same for the Green Bay game, but certainly this one, I obviously was coming to terms with the idea that they could easily lose this game. The rug could get pulled out from under them. And I remember sort of, I will call it coping in the moment of this is a fun game to watch. And I'm not going to sit here and say I wanted a moral victory. Far from it. It's not that. But my point is that I felt like I was having fun watching football for probably the first time all season for an entire game, beginning to end.
Yeah.
And there's something to that. Again, I'm not saying it's okay that they lose, but it's hard anymore, I feel like, watching this team this season to have that feeling, knowing that a loss is still very possible and just accepting the fact that this is enjoyable. And that's, I don't know, again, that's that. Yeah. By the way, I'm going to go back to this for a moment. I don't really want to give this guy a ton of attention. People are calling out the guy that said that dude on the left looks depressed. Why he didn't call out names? They're saying he's a Steelers fan, and that tracks. Okay. And Marshmallow Fluff. Thank you for your input, Marshmallow Fluff. Anyway,
I could use a little marshmallow fluff on ice cream or something. I don't know, right? You don't use marshmallow fluff on ice cream. What is that?
That tracked on your phone? You have an app that tracks how much marshmallow fluff you're.
No, I'm just saying I could use. I love some desserts,
competition,
brother.
I'm sure.
By the way, just so you guys know, these lives are also brought to you this live is also brought to you by our local sponsor. Shout out to Win Athletics, their flag football kit.
Let's film that, by the way. You and me playing flag football.
Honestly,
did you see it? Someone needs I'm going to clip it. Do it in slow motion. The moment the words came out of my mouth, you saw James's face. It was like a switch just flipped, and he went from I'm going to talk about this and promote Win Athletics, and then his face goes. It was like a snap. It was like,
you see this
competitive mode. I have to say, I can't accept these words.
I don't want to get too. Anyways, cones, flags, boom. You got the end zone. You got the out of bounds. The win flag football kit. It is perfect for anyone, especially those that can't guard me, which is pretty much everyone, right, Andrew? The point is though, 5-on-5 on the fly, your son or daughter flag football is huge. And I love the win flag football kit. You will too. The flags, best flags on the planet.
I have yet to try them out myself, but we're gonna have a sequel to the Icy Hot Bowl. You and I.
You're not going to be able to try them out on me because you're not going to be able to get them.
Okay,
it's just going to be.
We will document it. Maybe it would be a members only video, live stream of it, so that then you can't accuse me of editing something.
You know how Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on that final play that mattered made Jalen Ramsey look like he was about 97 years old, made him look like he was part of the Unk Bowl.
Right.
That would be just a snippet of what it would look like if we lined up. Just to be clear, I think you know that. I think you know very well that we won't do that. We'll have you throw the ball. Throw the ball.
I'll throw it like Rodgers at the end of that game. You might not get results, but I'll get it there.
There you go.
That game was a blast. Any football fan other than the Steelers should have enjoyed that. I wanted to call this out, Rob Duncan, simply because I feel that reasonable Steelers fans, because I've seen it on social media, I've seen it on Reddit, they're chiming in. The ones that are not just tunnel vision, blind anger, they're having a good time with that game too. It was a good game. And Steelers fans that, again, are reasonable and thinking clearly are coming out and saying, hey, that was a really fun game. I hate that we lost. That's okay. I mean, I'm saying that's okay that you can hate that you lost, but they're coming out like this was fun. And that's the point. Thursday Night Football, geriatrics playing each other. Come on, you couldn't have expected that. It was insane.
I thought it would be a fun game and competitive, but what did I say? I think I said 26-23. I didn't think it would be that offensively just driven,
right?
Where there was no stops.
Even
I
that
also
last throw
thought,
by Rodgers, I know I mentioned it. I knew that was coming. I've seen it time and time again. And I was
Sure.
like, oh, here we go. And I didn't expect it to be, obviously, it's not, you can't expect it to go right to this target. He's just launching it downfield. It's a Hail Mary for a reason. But I've seen crazy things happen with Rodgers against Arizona. It's time and time again. This guy. Oof.
well, the broadcast, that was the other thing, is they did this whole Cincinnati cloud thing. Like, oh, I've been here, done that. And,
Yeah.
and then they're crowning the Bengals and there's still 3 seconds. And you see Aaron Rodgers like, I'm going to launch it. And I'm
Yep.
telling everyone in the media room, like, guys, this play is still a play.
Right.
Like, I've seen it too. I did the
Yes.
same thing. And it really didn't have to do with Cincinnati or the Bengals or anything. It had to do with Aaron Rodgers. It's a bad dude.
And
He can
people
still
were like
get it there.
surprised. I saw the reactions. I mean, I'm talking about professional like broadcasters, athletes, and you name it. People saw how deep he got that ball. It was nearly 70 yards. I don't know what the exact number was, but
I
like
wasn't.
people were surprised. And I'm like,
Wasn't.
how are you? I think maybe they thought age was going to catch. Maybe they hadn't seen him throw bombs like that in recent memory. I don't know, but I was ready for it.
Shout out to DJ Ivy knocking that thing down. Good awareness.
Ooh.
Secures the win. Because if it gets knocked up, you never know. We've seen that. We saw that last year in Washington. And boy, oh boy, if that would have happened. Anyways,
Yes.
I think that's going to do it for us. You have anything else? You want anything else you want to mention here?
Other than the fact that I know some seeing some comments what happened, Green Bay stays in Green Bay. That's a reference to the fact that I've got footage from my time wandering around Lambeau and not being able to get a ticket to the game. And I don't know. I'll make something out of it. I'll put it up for members. Maybe I'll put it out for everybody. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. But
You know why he couldn't get a ticket? Because he didn't have enough members. Not
Stop.
enough. There weren't enough.
Stop. No, trust
All
me.
right.
Those tickets were insane. So
There's a ton posted right now. Zach
Yes.
Taylor from last night, or early this morning, Jamar Chase, Joe Flacco, my instant reaction, which is definitely different than what we have. And then this morning you posted Chase Brown, Orlando Brown Jr., Ted Karras, and Evan McPherson. Check it all out, please. Thank you. The Bengals are alive. And that was a season-saving win. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting us. And for Andrew Foxmiller, I'm James Rapien. Have a great weekend. This is Cincinnati Bengals Talk.